Hey everyone, so I wanted to talk a little bit about the covers as we move into this magazine project. So one of the things that I will never ever do other than during this project is ask you to mimic something, but this is a really specific kind of project. So you should use the standards of the magazine that you are designing for. So they all have very specific approaches, and they are all going to mimic those from month to month. So you as the designer, you're putting yourself in the position as if you were on the team. So think, I'm on this team, I need to handle woman, I need to go find a font or this font, or, occasionally I've even redrawn a font that looks exactly like that. If it has something like an ISBN, that ISBN should be there. So any information that's here, let's just zoom in on this one. So like we can make a list of the things that, would be something that needs to show up. Women, beauty, fashion, and lifestyle. We would take notice of how they're handling their articles, and that there's one that's more important, that there's kind of almost a little statement about each of those articles. That there's that ISBN, that they've decided to define their editor's name here, that they've even done this, which is very not typical of all the ones that we're going to be looking at. They often, for these fashion magazines, have very blank backgrounds because they know they're going to have to deal with that text. You can see that the text color here relates to the text color here, and this cover, you should know, is separate from your article, although you may be doing the feature article, so the person your article's about may appear on the cover. So, there is the chance of that. But, is this color that color that they always use? Is this always the way they structure their articles, with this type, kind of defining the more important aspect or name of the article, and then kind of having a secondary title? What happens? Even down to looking at the choices of fonts that they choose. You should be aware of whether it's photograph or illustration, the handling of visual hierarchy, which we've talked about, how they are handling the date. I can see that a lot of these don't have the dates. But if they do, you should have that date in there. Be aware of what's happening. So I think this guy has the date. Some of them have the amount of money. This was obviously not a USL. So those are all things that you're going to want to be aware of. National Geographic's always has this yellow band. Time always has this red band. Type is always in red. The interaction of the person on the cover with the type, this is behind, in front of, in front of, in front of, in front of. They're not as worried as I often am about readability of text, but, I'm never going to turn that off. So what are all these things? I've also gone, to the trouble of pulling some examples of mood boards. If I were doing a gardening magazine, maybe I would put something like this together so I could see some variety. I did a tech magazine, pull, and then I also did a fashion magazine pull, so that we could see how these are all very different, and we have to pay close attention, because we're putting you in the position as if you were on their team designing this cover for Vogue. So you would design it like Vogue has defined their cover, to, work. But then when we get into, the article, that's often completely separate, and it shouldn't share commonalities in design unless it's the feature article. The ad itself should not share any commonality with the front. You don't even have to worry that it has connections to color. It's on the back of the magazine. So this is the first in a two-part series, or in a three-part series. We're going to go over all of the pieces that you're going to be working on in this project. Thank you. Bye.